Okay, if we open up Photoshop, we're going to set up the preferences today. If we go through each one of these, this is what you should do at the beginning of opening Photoshop, right at the start. If you go into General, and then pick Apple or Adobe, that's what will be determined. If you're using always your Apple, then probably best to use the Apple, but the Adobe standard is probably best if you're mixing between Apple and the PC. Bicubic is probably the best one that I tend to use. This is the font size so that you can see all the fonts and characters easily. You can get it to automatically launch Bridge. I select all of these. The beep went down, dynamic colors, export to clipboard, resize, and if you've got the zoom wheel. Excuse me. Sorry. And then if we go into interface, you can use the grey toolbar icon. Just takes the color out of the Photoshop icon ribbon at the top. The show channels, leave all this on. Some people like the auto collapse, so that when you collapse the icons, it will then automatically collapse. I take that off. Right, always ask for saving when you leave. Put all of the Windows thumbnails and PC thumbnails on. Prefer Adobe Camera to JPEGs. I've started now doing Adobe Raw, so I prefer to use ignore exif. I always leave that on. Ask for compatibility and number of files that you might use. Performance, you can have up to 30. Performance, I've set mine to about 70% so that Photoshop is using majority of the memory space. So 70, 75 is adequate, and if you got different histories, that will also increase the number of previous dates you can go to. Cache levels, you can increase the cache if you need, and if it's got 3D acceleration which your graphics card supports, then use that. Now, these are the different types of tools that you got for painting for the cursor. I tend to use the cross with the circle in it, and some people prefer that. I keep it on that as well. Or if you want to distinguish other colors, maybe have a different icon for that. If you want fatter, circle around the crosshair, then you can use that. Gamut and transparency, leave it on standard. Units, now this is where you change your units from centimeters to pixels to inches, depending on which country you are and what your project you're doing. If you're doing web designing, use pixels. If you're using Photoshop, in the UK we use centimeters. Inches is probably in America, I don't know if they use inches. And points, if you're a desktop publishing person. I'll leave the guidelines on with different colors. If you've got plugins, you can tell it where the plugins is to go, which folder it lives in, and then put the serial number of that plugin. And type preferences, what kind of fonts that you prefer, and what type of size you like when you're previewing it. And this just toggles from the top to the bottom. your preferences now set up.